As I sat in the port on my boat, I was trying to process what just happened. I could not believe I could not process it. This was just strange, as this has never happened to me before. Welcome back, scary mystery story lovers. This is the second part of what happened to the fisherman at sea. If you've not watched the first video, go watch it so you understand the story. I sat on my boat and I was trying to collect myself because I was still shaking. I sat there for a while and I picked up all my fish, everything, and I left the port and I went home. Getting home, I refused to tell anyone because I kept thinking, who is going to believe me? Will people think that I'm out of my mind? Because if this didn't happen to me, I don't think I would be able to believe such story. So I decided to keep everything to myself. I went about my day. We cooked, we ate. I went to bed, woke up the next day, and life just went back to normal. But I kept thinking to myself, how is this possible? And then I remembered that there was another fisherman that is much older than myself, and he has been doing this deep water diving for a long time. But he is older now, so he just goes to drop his hooks and small nets to catch whatever he can catch for his family. I said to myself, yes, this is the person I need to speak to. If anybody will understand and throw more light on the story, it has to be this man. So I put on my clothes, I left my house, and I started walking to his house. When I got there, I saw his wife in front of the house, in front of his hut. I greeted her and I asked her if her husband was home. She said he was inside resting, but she will go in and get him for me. And I said, thank you. She got me a small wooden chair that we used to sit in the village. She placed it outside for me and I sat down. She went and called him and he came. And I greeted him the way we greet elderly people in Africa. I greeted him. He said, well done, my son, as he was much older than I was. I sat down and I said, I want to talk to you about something, but I really don't know how you will see this, but don't think I'm crazy. I've not been drinking, but this is something that happened to me and I've not shared it with anybody, and I feel you will be the only one to understand this. So he said, okay, let me grab something, and he brought the cola and we sat down and we were chewing on the cola, and I started narrating the story of how I went for fishing and what I encountered, how something or someone grabbed me and I managed to escape with my life. And he turned away from me for a second and he smiled and he said, oh, so you too, you saw the man? And when he said the man, I was like, how did he know? Because I felt, now if you remember, I said in that story that the grip felt like a human's hand, but because the water was kind of dark and I couldn't see in front of my face, I didn't see. So when he said that, and I said, how did you know? And he said, I will tell you my story. And he said, few years ago, when I was stronger, when I was still doing the deep water diving, I decided to go to the bigger river, not the one that you went to that you just described to me right now, the bigger one that has more, the current is stronger and all of that. I decided to go there and dive. I've been there, I've been diving for like this area is area that I always go to, so it's not like a strange place. But on this day, I went and I dove and I was catching a lot of fish. Every hole, just as you just narrated, I was getting fish. One of the time as I was surfacing, all of a sudden, someone attacked me. Someone or something. And I turned and I could see in the water that this thing has the shape of a man, the shape of human. But this thing was so strong and so dark. It was so black, like charcoal, like the darkest of the dark. And it was full of hair and the body was slippery or slimy. I could not hold him. But when I noticed that this thing was trying to pull me deep into more deeper than I can handle, I noticed that I was going to drown. I had no choice but to fight for my life. And we fought and fought and fought. He was trying to pull me in. I was trying to pull him out, but I couldn't grab him. So that is what you saw. You are not out. And he said to me, you are not out of your mind. There are things that live under the water that people that have encountered them don't want to talk about them. But for sure, I know what I saw and I know what I fought with under the water many years ago.